So, I did a water change yesterday, and as soon as I did a water change, this yellow female right here started having babies. And you can see I put the other ones in the net because they were chasing after them, trying to eat them. And then on the other side of the net, you can see some babies up there at the top, in the back. And you got some over here. There's probably close to 40 of these little guys all in this tank. And there's a big school of them right here. They're super tiny. So, sadly, I don't have the money to buy one of those net breeders to put these three in. So, I got them in my large net for now, until these babies get big enough to where the babies in here can't eat them. Because these guys have gotten really big. See, there's one of the females right here from one of the females that I had that passed away. But these babies in here are getting pretty big now. You can see the black mollies from, I think last week. Yeah, last week. It's been a week now. They're already twice the size of those guys in my tank that are new. And there's one of the white mollies right there going up to the top. But yeah, I don't even think there's probably over 30 fish in here. They're about fish size, some of them. Some of them are still fry, but in case people haven't been watching my videos, what I'm doing is this tote thing is just a experiment. I'm trying to see if I can get these fish to live out and grow out in a tote with the air stone going and no filter. I do need to clean up this bottom of this tank soon, or the tote soon, I mean. But they're doing really well. I haven't had any deaths at all. None. Zero. I net the babies up right away when I see them and put them in here. Unfortunately, these little guys are just way too small to start netting and putting in there. But that's what happens though when the females have more than 20 or so babies. Their babies are super tiny for guppies. Mollies are the same way. If they have a big lot of them, the babies are super tiny. And then I do have a shrimp in here. It's a green one. I'm not sure where it is though. Blends in super well. It's usually by the heater. But yep, there it is. Right there. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. Right there in between the heater and the suction cup. That's the shrimp right there. I'm going to be adding more shrimp to this tank. Actually not this tank. We're going to be buying a 5-gallon tank. And then I'm going to move the guppies into this 10-gallon tank. And then I'm going to be splitting this 20-gallon tank in half. And when I order those fish from that company, and there's 2 different types of selfin mollies they have now. So one is the red sunset, and then they got a new species of a high selfin molly. So I'm gonna be having 2 different pairs, and this will be, I'm gonna be putting them in a tote first, like this. Actually, I don't know yet. I gotta figure out something I need to do before I put them in here. I need to acclimate them before I put them into any tanks. I mean, I guess I could acclimate them, especially if I put them in a divider, because they're coming from the same place. So this could be the acclimation tank. And then I'm going to move one pair of each into my 55-gallon tank once they're acclimated and I see that they're healthy. That's the idea anyways. The only problem is the 20-gallon is not that it's a 20-gallon long, so 6 fish on each side that's a lot. Especially for mollies, because they're a bigger fish. I believe she's still having babies too, so that's why I'm waiting. I crunched up some food really, really tiny, and all the babies ate, so they're healthy. And then that Siamese algae eater hasn't been bothering them at all. I put his food back there in the bag, some algae wafers, and he'll eat up on that. The only ones that go after the babies are these other adults, and the only reason why is because they're so tiny. I mean, I was able to keep these babies in the 20-gallon tank with the adults, because when they were born, they were still biteable or edible, but at the same time they were big enough to where they didn't really bother them that much. Whereas these little guys, they were actually going after them. If I wouldn't have net them, I wouldn't have as many babies as I have. That's for sure. And the mother has been just sticking around the net area, so she's not even bothered them at all, which is perfect. So when I do feed, I get all these guys get to big enough to put in the tote. Hopefully, by that time, some of these females will finally be breedable size, and I can do what I wanted to do with a net breeder. I'm just gonna stick 4 of them inside of a net breeder and with one of the males, and watch the male mate with 4 of them, and then let them go, and then do the same thing, put 4 more in the net breeder, and then with the other male. Because these females are going to be like that female up there, darker black color, and I got a all black male, so I want to keep that black line going. And I don't know what color these are going to be. They could be yellow, like the mom, or they could be something else. I don't know what type of guppy bred with her before I bought her, so. But if they are yellow, I'm going to breed them with that orange fish and see what happens. Oh, and I figured out what's wrong with my 55-gallon. Finally figured out what's wrong with my 55-gallon tank. Technically, there's nothing wrong with my 55-gallon tank. I figured out the reason why it's brown isn't because there's tannins in the water, or because it's dirty. It's because I used soil. I have soil underneath all this substrate, and the soil is what's making the water a brownish color. I do water changes every 4 or 5 days, so eventually this water will be clear, I hope. I don't know. There's a lot of soil in the bottom, but the reason why there's a lot of soil at the bottom is because plants. A lot of people don't use soil anymore, I know that, but I don't care what other people do. I'm doing things my own way. And so far as I've noticed, these fish love being in this darker water, and the plants love the soil. Otherwise I wouldn't be having this much plant growth. Got grass growing over here. It's all green. No dead spots, all green. Then I got some grass growing over here finally. It took a little bit, but it's starting to grow out. I've also learned that with the water being this dark, the fish actually, if they have babies and are ready to deliver, they just drop them down here in the plants. I've had the silver molly do it with less plants, but when I put more plants in here, one of the black mollies dropped her babies down in here and I was able to get all of them. There's 13 black ones in the tote, 6 white, and then the rest are guppies. But yeah, I kind of like the water dark like this because it almost looks almost looks natural. This is what it would look like if they were in the wild. That's probably why they're doing so well in here. And the other reason why it's brown is because I keep the temperature around 78 to 82 degrees. So when the temperature is warm, everyone knows that if you have soil on water, and if the water's warm, it's going to turn the water a dark color. But the soil will eventually lose its, I don't know what you call it. It will eventually lose its potency, I guess you could say. Because the plants, once they get large enough, will take all of the nutrients out of the soil for their roots. And the soil will eventually just dissolve. Once that happens, the water will be crystal clear because the plants will then take over, which is what I can't wait to see. You can already see a lot of my plants have already grown a lot since I did my last video on these fish. But yeah, I figured out the reason why my water is so dark and amber color is because of soil, not because of the water conditions. Water conditions are perfect. I do my water changes all the time, every few days, like I said. So every time I remove brown water, I put in clear water, and these are all jugs that I have set aside for over 2 days, and then I put the water in. Let them sit out for 48 hours, and just in case. I don't know if our water has any chemicals in it or not, but if it does, then in 48 hours the chlorine and all that other crap will be gone. Yeah, these fish really love the way I have this tank looking. You can see them pecking at the substrate that I have. So I got about 2 inches of soil on the bottom all the way down to the back. And then I put black gravel over the soil, and then I put this really light, it's like almost like a black crushed gravel. It's like almost like a sand. It's really fine, and the plants are doing really well because of that. So I got pretty much 3 layers of substrate in here. Once the plants get through the gravel and into the soil, and then they go into the underground filter, that's when we'll start seeing the water turn clear. It's a long process. They got a long way to go before they get actually rooted into the aquarium. But I wanted it that way. The gravel will keep the plants in place once they get their roots going. And then those plants in the back there, near the heater, they're starting to grow out. Exciting times, exciting times. The tote ID is working, so when I get those high-end mollies, they're going to be going into a tote and growing out, just like those ones are. Hopefully I can get a lot of them so I can start selling the high-end stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do with these guys. I can't keep all of them. But I don't have enough to sell anywhere either. Well, I might after I get those other ones going. There's over 30, I know that for a fact. I counted over 30 of them before I lost count. And then I noticed there was some hiding around the top and everywhere else. So I'm going to end the video with these little babies again. Sorry for being so wobbly. I don't know why it's all blurry now. There it goes. There's a big school of them right here. A lot of ideas, not sure what I'm going to do yet. See, there's some more at the top here. I counted over 30 on the bottom, and then I realized there was more on the top, so see, there's more. Look at that little school here. There's probably close to 40 baby fish in here now. Yeah, there's definitely close to 40. That's some good news right there. I get these to grow out a little bit, put them in the tote, let them grow out more. That's gonna give me, let's see, I got over 30 in the tote right now, combined with the mollies, and then 40 more guppies. So we're gonna have a little fish operation here. Cool thing is though, is when I get those other females matured, I'm gonna have my own little strain of mollies. Who knows what I'll get with orange and black mollies, with the orange and the 4 black ones. The black I'll get with the black molly, the black male, mating with the 4 darker females. They should have darker females, and the male should keep his dominant black color with his babies. I'm hoping anyways. I don't even think I should have got guppies, to be honest. I started with them, and then I probably shouldn't have got any of the mollies. I mean, I do have 1 selfin and 7 females, but it wasn't until after I bought those ones that I decided I wanted to get some high-end mollies, and now everything's screwed up. I don't have the space to get more tanks, so nor the money to keep buying equipment for all these stuff. So I'm stuck with what I got so far, for now. If I start making profit off these fish, who knows what could happen. But that's it for now. I'm out. Have a good day. Thanks for watching.